yeah. I was a little sick. I still kind of am, but like it ain't that bad. I've been staying home. Me and my partner just been in bed for the last few days, and I'm feeling okay. It's mostly a cough at this point, which is much less annoying than a drippy nose, but of course much less capable. It was almost like every time I moved, it was triggering a cough. But that phase is over, although I might have the occasional, you know, no big deal, no big deal. So before I get into it, let's just run a quick 60 seconds because ain't nobody here anyway, so let's do it. Okay, I didn't even mute my mic. Love that for me. Back again so soon. Yes. Okay, so I am here to do my makeup for my stream tonight. Obviously, it's my new routine. The fuck else are you supposed to do? I get why people make makeup videos. It's not that it's boring, but it's like you can't really give anything your full attention. But like you can watch me do it. So yeah, it's a fun routine. But I've also been having a lot of fun with this whole like not gonna lie app via Instagram, even though it's a third party app. You know, you post a link, people can send stuff anonymously, whether it's questions, confessions, or your big three in words. So, been having a lot of fun with that. And someone's question yesterday to me, because I was sick, so I was like, fuck it, ask me questions. And now I'm like, fuck it, ask me questions regardless, any day. It's hilarious the things people come up with. Especially confessions. That was a lot of fun. They asked the weirdest thing I've ever seen. So I was like, well, you gotta narrow it down because I think me is the only go-to answer I have. Things I've done. I literally started telling a story about how I had the self-realization that when you are among homeless people and acting like you might be doing crack and carrying around a bunch of bags and wearing used clothes, you might look like, right, that's been happening to me my whole life. So me, weirdest me, talking to myself in public, whatever. Thank you. So I said pick a category. Now let's narrow it down. Weirdest paranormal experience that I've ever seen. Weirdest extraterrestrial experience I've ever seen. Weirdest human experience I've ever seen. Or weirdest under the influence story that I have, thing I've ever seen. And the people spoke. They voted paranoia. I almost said paranoia. Paranormal. They voted paranormal. So thought about it, and there's really, obviously, as a necromancer and like my whole life thinking I'm talking to God, probably talking to ghosts, right? Grew up Catholic, but also always had superpowers, right? So what are you gonna do? There's two stories that really stick out in my mind as the most paranormal or like the weirdest things I've ever seen, because a lot of what I do, I might see someone, you know, in my mind's eye. I might see something flicker. Like I remember probably my first ghost experience was 4th grade, right? The first Christmas after my uncle died, Pretty sure his funeral was in October. I think he died in October, yeah. So funeral's in October. The lights flickered at Christmas that year. That was the first time I can consciously remember feeling like I had proof that ghosts exist without dipping too far into the concept of energy or sciences at that point, because I was 10 and in Catholic school. So that was my earliest paranormal experience. But since then, it's a lot of vocals, a lot of like thought images, like I said, mind's eye. There's really only been 2 times, other than like, I'm gonna tell you my top 3 stories. I'm gonna tell you my top 3 stories, okay? I'm gonna tell you my top 3 paranormal stories. Because there's only been these 3 times I can really think of, other than like, having a crazy dream or something flashing or seeing something out of the corner of your eye. There are 3 experiences that go above and beyond all others that were the weirdest of my life. So I'm going to tell all 3. I'm going to tell all 3. Lucky you. So, should we go in order of like extremeness? That would be kind of fun. I don't even know how I would put them in order. They're all very extreme cases of paranormal activity in which I visibly saw something very weird. Maybe we'll go in time order. Because honestly, it's like the first story is I was the only witness. Second story, there was multiple witnesses. Third story, there's multiple witnesses. So I feel like that's the best way to do it. We're going to do our top 3 that way. I'll tell you my top 3 visibly paranormal stories. One moment, please. I'm not gonna lie, I have food. It was made for me and brought to me, which is so sweet. Our timing was off with the stream. We thought I'd be done, but I take a long time to start. But nobody watches me eat for free. So, anyways, makeup and paranormal stories. Here we go. Round 1, 2013. It was around October. Such a spooky time. May have been a little bit earlier. May have been sometime in September. Probably. Doesn't matter, does it? August, even. Either way, I was working at a health food store. And there was one time I got really sick. And it's funny because I've been sick a lot the past couple years. Basically since COVID started, which I don't love that, but it's true. And this time in 2013 was one of the only times that I can remember, or the people in my life can remember, me being really sick. I'm sure I had passing colds since then, but I used to never get sick in the past 10 years. But when I was working at this health food store, I got extremely sick to the point where I think I almost died. But it was just a flu, so I didn't really think anything of it. So I was at work. I was like, shit my brains out. And the owner really didn't like me, so she was like, if you are not shitting your brains out and you're just leaving work, then you're gonna get fired. And I'm like, homegirl, you want to watch next time? So they let me leave. Disgusting, right? Different world back then. So I go home and I went straight to bed. I was living with a family at the time. And I don't know, I guess everybody must have known I was pretty sick at that point because I left work to come home, blah, blah, blah. This was about a year and a half after a very tragic accident struck my family. I should not say accident, it was extremely premeditated. Dude's dead, don't care, not worth it. Extremely premeditated attack on my family happened about a year and a half prior to this. So it was the first time I had been sick in a while. The last time I remember being sick before the last 3 years. And I was in bed with the flu. I'd get up and puke, get up and shit. It was horrible. All I was doing was drinking water. And that's when I realized I was the Antichrist because I was turning water into shit instead of wine. And that's when it all started. But maybe this was 2012. I just can't remember when I worked at that health food store. So this may have been like 6 months after the accident. Once again, premeditated massacre. What difference? And I was in bed because I was sick. I couldn't eat, couldn't hold anything down, not even toast, nothing. Sleeping a bunch. The only meds I was using was marijuana, which wasn't legal at the time. I remember the pipe I was smoking out of too. It was this like glass pipe with a little cherry bear on it that my friends had gotten me. I still wonder what happened to that thing. And I like was in and out of sleep the whole time. The whole time. You're probably wondering what this thing buildup is for. You'll understand. I was on the verge of death. That's what the buildup is for. Literally, like couldn't eat, couldn't stay hydrated, couldn't stay awake. So I was texting my friends. They were like, damn, I feel okay. I'm not coming near you. I was texting this dude I was talking to at the time. You still owe me money. Okay. And I like asked him to bring me food. And he's like, I'm not risking getting sick. I work in the food industry. We all did, you know? So I fell asleep. Didn't think anything of it. But I woke up and there was a body in my bed. Warm body. And I'm like, oh, did homeboy come over? And I was like, no, that'd be weird because he'd have to like knock on my front door and like someone would have to let him in, and he didn't know anybody in my family at that time. So I was like, okay, that's a little weird. And I ran my hand up his back and I was like, man, homie is like 5'7". Like this back is too long. This is not who I think it is. Red shirt, you know. Go up to his head. I'm like, who is this, right? Why am I holding a warm body in my bed? Look over, it's blonde hair, face down. The way I can't explain that I had fallen asleep with the lights on, so I opened my eyes, and I'm like, oh, there's a warm fucking body right here. It must be this dude that I invited over. No, he didn't want to come over. He's not this tall. Who the fuck is this? And I look down, and I see these long-ass legs. The lights are on, man. This isn't like some kind of hallucinatory experience in the dark. You know, it's not like a demon paralysis thing at that point. It's like a warm human keeping me warm. Creepy. And I kind of realized that not very many people are over 6 feet tall. And I only know like a couple of them. Neither one of them were in my house or have blonde hair. So I kind of realized, oh shit, this is definitely this dude who was massacred 6 months prior. And when I realized that this was a dead person that I could feel the weight of and the warmth of, I was like, I need to wake up. But of course, how do you wake up when your eyes are wide open and you think you're awake and you are just feeling this person and this warmth and this weight on you? I literally could feel his weight. It was so insane. And I just sat up. He was still on me, and I sat up and was like, I need to wake up. I need to wake up. And I don't know how I did, but I did. And I immediately chugged some water and ate some food and came back to life. And I swear on everything. I know who, it was obviously him. And I think he saved me. I think I would have died of starvation or dehydration. Well, not starvation. You can't starve in 3 days. But I think I would have died of dehydration had he not gotten me up. Like, I think I was dying in my bed, literally from this flu. I didn't have Pedialyte. I didn't have, like I said, I didn't have anybody bringing me anything. Like, didn't know what was wrong with me. Wasn't used to having the flu. You know what I mean? Like, I was not used to being sick. Had strep when I was a kid. I'd get an antibiotic. But a flu, you just live it out, right? Kind of not right. Kind of wrong. But that's what happened. So I was about to die. And Ghost Boy showed up in my bed like a living person, and I was like, you know what? That's not right. He's not supposed to. Yeah, no, I gotta do something about this. And he saved my life that day. And that was probably the first time I had seen and felt a ghost. Crazy, man. It wasn't like my first contact because I had seen one in a dream, and like could feel energies at the time, and anytime someone would tell me a ghost story, if it was true, I would start crying, like eyes would well. So I had ghost experiences before, but that was the first time that it was like an actual apparition in front of me, and I actually could touch it and feel. It still haunts. It's still so spooky. It's still just, even as a memory, it's hard to fathom and make sense of because it was so not like anything I'd ever experienced before. I'll tell you that much. Really wild. Which brings me to story number 2. This was, I believe it was like probably the summer after this happened. So that was probably 2012. And then this next one was 2013, Oh, it was. Now that I think about it, it absolutely was. I just got my timeline right. I was thinking I worked at the health food store 13, 14, it was 12, 13. So this was 6 months after this kid was killed. He was in my bed. And then about, I would say probably like a year later, maybe it was before this, I don't know. It was in the same house. It was probably like 2, 3 in the morning. I'm about to fall asleep because I had work the next day. Now my little bro calls and he's like, hey, sis, I know you're kind of like the local spooky bitch. I'm like, indeed I am. He's like, I was wondering, well, me and my friends are wondering. I'm like, okay, let's do it. They had heard about a haunting right there in our neighborhood. There was a few things that they had been looking into, such as a house in the neighborhood across the park from us, and the park itself, and the creek by the park, that they had heard about hauntings and had gone there during the day and experienced some things. Everybody was experiencing something different. Some people would cry, some people would see something, some people would be too scared to step foot in the barrier, Everybody was reacting differently. So, of course, they called me. They were like, we want you to check it out. We want to verify that this is, like, legit haunted. And I was like, cool, let's go. So I strapped myself with some amulets, some special protection, and I trekked through the neighborhood with these kids. I mean, I wasn't very old, so they were probably barely legal, I don't think anybody was like breaking laws or curfew other than don't be at the park after dark. It was really more of a field anyways. So we go over there, and I'm fully prepared for this shit. And we walk through the woods, and I'm like, okay, feeling like a little spooked out. Like, it's just being in the woods at night is kind of spooky, right? It's not deep woods, it's not thick woods. You can pretty much see all the way through any angle you're at. So we're walking through, and somebody, like, steps on a twig. And for some reason, it triggered everyone to just kind of, like, panic for a moment. Like, absolute panic. And so we turn back to the entrance we came from. And over the hedges, we see what we think is a person. So we all kind of freeze, like, shit, you guys, we're about to get caught. Fuck. Like, again, not doing drugs, not, like, sneaking out or anything. It's just, like, stupid kids looking for haunted woods, right? So we all fucking freeze, and we see this person. We see, like, a full figure. There was, like, bushes. And we just see this. That's not how people move. Like, if you're walking, you sway this way, you bounce this way, but this was just, like, floating person. he had like a old school, like not a top hat, but maybe a bowler cap, and like a just all white face. There was no definition. It was like a profile, so you could see this, so you knew it was like a human head, but he didn't have eyes. He didn't like no flesh. It was just gray, like black gray silhouette with like a black suit kind of thing, just float by, and so we all fucking ran. Yeah, we ran right through that field. None of us stopped running until we were out of the field, and then I fucking came down and got super fucking angry and demanded a cigarette. We looked into the haunted house across the way from this park wooded area, and there's definitely some weird shit going on. Last time it was sold was for $1, which of course there's plenty of reasons for that, but with the haunted park in the backyard, I don't know, man. I almost forgot that part of when we were stopped, we looked at that house that was supposedly haunted, and there was like a red glowing light coming from it. I almost forgot about that because that was spooky too, where they're like, we've seen this house at night, we've never seen a red light before, so we definitely were infringing on somebody's kind of territory or whatever. It was very, very strange. Kind of cool, not gonna lie. I love a good ghost story, but honestly kind of terrifying. It was pretty terrifying. I'm not a runner. I'll just say that. Not many ways to make me run. So, and without further ado, we're going to take a minute, and then I'm going to tell you the third story, which, like I said, is just amping up, right? More and more witnesses. Third one's going to be a lot of fun. It wasn't an apparition. It was, it's a whole thing. We'll be back. Back again. So, for my last and final story, the most recent of the experiences. This was actually back in 2018, and I'm gonna try to tell it the best I can and the quickest I can, because no one was dying. So, at this point, this was a few years after the incident that affected my family, and oh man, this one was crazy. This one was real weird. So, I'm chilling in my house, with there was a few people there. There was a couple girls with me, both Geminis, and there was a couple dudes. One was really drunk, and one was completely sober. Me and the girlies were like drinking, but not drunk. You know, it was kind of early. It was still like daylight out, but evening time. Just trying to give you a clear picture. You'll understand. So, bro, I do not remember what happened. I'm gonna jump the gun, man. Okay, the dudes were about to take off. The girls were outside. I was talking about someone in relation to the accident, right? And so I was talking about it in the backyard with the ladies. And being in the backyard, there was a sliding door. Okay, I think drunk dude was sitting on the couch and sober dude was by the front door when this happened. It was just the craziest thing, man. The sliding door ended up being locked, and everyone was like, "Why? Who locked the door?" Like, you knew we were out here, and nobody claimed to it. Okay, sure, maybe the drunk dude locked it behind him, didn't think about it, whatever. But then, man, I don't know. Somebody was getting ready to go. They were going to put their shoes on. We were coming back from outside after we had been talking about some stuff. And I don't know how to explain, because there was only one animal in the whole house, my cat, who was at the front door with whoever was putting their shoes on. Once again, only one person was like actually drunk that night. The rest of us were a little tipsy, a couple drinks in, or completely sober. So, like, everyone was accounted for. The cat and two people were at the front door putting their shoes on. Two of us were outside in the backyard. One was opening the door and letting us in, okay? And so while everyone was occupied, a fucking wrought iron bar stool, okay? When I say a wrought iron bar stool, I mean that shit when I was standing up. I'm like 5'7", bro. When I was standing, it came up to my chest, okay? These are heavy fucking chairs. Had them in my family my whole life. Never once ever saw one fall over unless we put too much stuff on the back of it. Like, we'd hang our book bags. Okay, if you have 6 books in there, of course it's gonna fall over, right? That was the only time that's ever happened. Nobody leaning back ever fell. Like, these are solid fucking chairs and they're really high off the ground. No one wanted to talk about this because there's a couple people who were like very highly against paranormal activity at the time in my house who witnessed this. Everyone was occupied. Everyone was accounted for, including the cat, because whoever's putting their shoes on was like, he wouldn't stop messing with my shoes. I know it wasn't him. This fucking wrought iron chair with nothing on it, just... Excuse me, what? For no reason, just fell over. Spontaneously fucking fell over with a... on these hardwood floors. Man, we all were just like... What the fuck was that? What the fuck was that? It doesn't sound scary, but man, like I said, there was some anti-paranormal people who were like, I'm not talking about this ever again. Don't ever bring this up to me. Don't ever bring it up to anyone, especially not in front of me. Like, it was a big deal. People who were like, I'm scared. I'm not gonna, nope, we're not doing this right now. I completely understand, but I also am like, wow, that was crazy. So... those were my top 3 paranormal activity stories. The weirdest things I've ever seen. The most weirdest, unexplicable, unexplainable, whole ass paranormal activity. Yeah, you're right. The human warm, full flesh body was probably the freakiest one. I probably shouldn't have started with that one. The rest kind of... I couldn't even tell the stories as good because they were more chaotic. You know, it's like, it was easier to remember because I was the only one there. But then I try to remember where everyone was standing and the order of events and what everybody said and blah, blah, blah. But man, every time was freaky as fuck. All 3 of those nights were so goddamn freaky. Well, they weren't nights. One was afternoon, one was very wee hours of the morning, and one was evening time, but you get what I mean. Sunsets on darkness. That was the inspiration for this look with these stories, because I have like sunset colors on. So I want to do like sunset makeup. And yeah, here we go. That's so nice. I probably need new mascara. Well, as we know, I need like all new makeup, but don't really care. There's so many other things I spend my money on, or would want to spend my money on. It is what it is, King. It is what it is. So I hope you enjoyed my paranormal stories. I thought they were pretty fun, kind of cool, and super interesting. If you like them, let me know. I have so many little stories like that. Those are the ones that just stick out to me as the most intense or real. There was some other incidences that were slightly more physical, and some that are a little harder to talk about. But those I've had enough time to kind of sit with and like really revel in, you know? So here's the look that you can't really see. And I will be back in a bit. I'm going to finish my food, and then I will be on to stream some tarot, but also there's just a lot of stuff on my mind that I want to discuss with y'all because I got a good crowd on here, and they let me say whatever I want to about Jesus, and they love hearing my conspiracy theories. So thank you all for tuning in. Real quick, do we leave the hair up? I'm kind of digging the hair up. And these glasses are cool. Like, I can definitely rock these. But I was kind of leaning towards the gold to go with the sunset vibes, right? Like, I don't need all the color, but I need the blue blocking lens. Should we do these? I think we should do these. I'm going to do these. All right, so hopefully I'll see you later. Please tune back in when I come back, whenever that is. We know I'm really bad about that, don't we? And I just found some blush, so we're just gonna... Yay, I love it. All right. See you in a bit, hopefully. Gonna roll out with an ad. Thanks.